Hello everybody. Today I want to talk to you about some Fel-Pro high performance intake manifold gaskets that have failed in a weird way. Part number is 1250. They fit a Ford 351 Windsor. And here's my story. Okay, I put this engine together many years ago. It fits in a Fox body Mustang. I actually built the engine the first time way back in about 1990. Converted it to a 351 Windsor back when most people didn't even think about doing so. Ended up putting the 302 back in the car, and then about 1998 I ended up building the 351 Windsor again and putting it in the car. And a few years later, so probably late 90s, early 2000 or so, I pulled the intake manifold and ended up putting a set of Performance 1250 intake manifold gaskets in there. And the car's been fine for many years, and I don't really drive it that much. And then a few years ago, I got the car out, was going to drive it, and it didn't want to run right. It was not revving like it normally would, and it was doing some weird stuff using oil. And ended up pulling the carburetor off. It has a 4777 Holley 650, and I went ahead and rebuilt the carburetor just because of the ethanol and the gas today and everything. And I ended up taking a flashlight and I glanced down the intake manifold. Here's a photo of what I saw when I looked down the intake manifold. It has an Offenhauser 5181 intake on it, which is a single plane divided manifold. I looked down one of the ports and I saw something sticking out, which was kind of odd. Look right here in this photo. See that right there? That's the edge of the intake manifold gasket in that one port. Here's another photo right here. It's obvious this is weird and something's not right. So I ended up putting a camera down one of the ports and confirmed that's what I was seeing. Went all the way down another port, saw the same thing, and I knew that somehow this intake manifold gasket set has failed. The gaskets had failed and they were sucking into the ports. So I ended up pulling the intake manifold, and this is what I saw. As you can see right here, the manifold gaskets look awful weird. They look mushy. And you got to remember, these Performance 1250 Fel-Pros, they're a fiber, rubbery type gasket. And you can see they're coated with oil, and they're quite deformed and swollen. You can see the Prento seal around the intake ports themselves. They're deformed. And I know the first thing you're going to say was there's too much crush on the intake gasket. Well, no, there wasn't. This has been in there for many years. It happened to fail probably within 3 or 4 years, maybe, I don't know. I'm still not quite sure of the cause, but you can tell that the gaskets are, the material has failed. And the best I can describe it, they were like mush. Kind of a crunchy but mushy. Crunchy on the surface, mushy down in the center, and almost like Play-Doh. And you can see in this other photo how the gaskets actually started sagging and deforming. But yet on the back side of the gaskets, there was plenty of compression. You can see on this one photo right here that the gaskets are actually very well compressed to the cylinder head. But anywhere there wasn't support behind the gasket, that it kind of bowed up and swelled and deformed. Very weird. I've never seen anything like this. Some of you may have, but I can tell you one thing. It really does not give me very much confidence on running the performance gaskets for a long period of time. And when I say a long period of time, I'm talking decades. And maybe that's the reason. Maybe the performance gaskets are made to pull every few years. I don't know. Now, I know that I ran Castrol 1040 in this engine for many years, and I've ran Valvoline. Always the good oils, you know. Now right now it's got full synthetic in it. So I don't know what the actual cause is. I'm wanting to let everybody to know, and I'm trying to prevent this from happening again. So what I decided to do was I went ahead and I cleaned the cylinder heads off after pulling the intake, cleaned the intake up, and I went ahead and put factory style gaskets. You can see right here the reason why they're Teflon coated steel shim gaskets. So maybe that's the thing, maybe that's the deal. Anytime you're going to run intake gaskets for a long period of time, just like from the factory, they came metal shim style gaskets with Teflon coating or so. So I went ahead and I got the appropriate Fel-Pro. I don't remember the part number, but this engine has 70 model Windsor heads. It's been updated with stainless valves and hardened seats and all, but back in the day there wasn't the availability of aluminum heads like there is today. They're so cheap and easy to come by, but back many years ago when I first put this engine together, I found the best of the best, which was the 70 model Windsor heads, and that's what's still on it. And you see the intake manifold has the extra bolt holes on the ends. What is it? So that, you know, if you have a later model Windsor based engine, it's what, 6 bolts per intake side, whereas the early model Windsor 70 model 69 model had 8 bolts per side. So anyway, I went ahead and got the factory style gaskets, and that's what I did. I put those on there. You can see everything cleaned up here, and went ahead and cleaned the intake manifold up and put it on. It's the Offenhauser 5181, and went back this time with still have the factory style valve covers. I've run the roller rockers on there. So many years ago I took the baffles out to clear the roller rockers. That was a big no-no, because what it does is it allows oil to come out of the oil cap holes. So I went ahead and got one of my other sets that still had the baffles in it, and the way I cleared the roller rockers this time is I went ahead and put some valve cover spacers on the engine. You can see right here, here's the completed engine pretty much with the Holley carburetor. It's been rebuilt. Power by Ford factory style valve covers with the oil baffles still in the oil cap holes, and everything's good to go. So I went ahead and assembled everything, new intake manifold bolts, and this should be good. But anyway, I just wanted to let y'all know I've definitely witnessed some weird things with the intake, the Fel-Pro performance intake manifold gaskets. In this example, they turned to mush. Don't know why, don't know if it was the oil, don't know if it was just time or if it was fuel, but definitely the gaskets failed. That's why it was using oil. It's pulling oil up through the valley in the intake manifold ports, and it was getting oil in the intake. So anyway, I hope this helps, and I'll talk to y'all later. If you found this video helpful, please remember to give it a thumbs up. Thank you. And remember, don't be destructive. Fix, repair, create. Make the world better.